Her boots hit the mud before dawn, the cold air cutting through her uniform as she stepped off the transport truck and into the forward camp. She had been sent because every scout who went in before never came back. The command believed the region was collapsing, and if they failed to hold the valley, the entire border would fall. Soldiers around her whispered when they saw her, a lone officer, calm, eyes sharp, scanning the terrain. Most of them had already accepted defeat, their trenches shallow, their guns half cleaned, morale hanging by a thread. She could see fear in their eyes, exhaustion from weeks under siege, and the knowledge that reinforcements would not come. They were outnumbered 5-1. But she walked through them like she was stepping into routine duty, not a battlefield hanging by a thread. She sent scouts to each flank, checked ammunition counts, inspected the trenches, and quietly reset machine gun placements by hand. Some soldiers, ashamed, began mirroring her discipline, cleaning rifles silently, adjusting gear, straightening helmets. Leadership wasn't about orders here, she knew. It was about presence, about reminding a broken line that they were still soldiers. As the sun rose, the distant echo of enemy artillery rolled across the mountains. A scout returned breathless, dirt on his face, reporting enemy units moving in formation, armored vehicles marking the path, drones circling above. She nodded, calm, and gave only one instruction: hold position, conserve fire, wait for her signal. Many expected panic, or at least a hurried plan. But she simply walked to the highest sandbag post, pulled out binoculars, and studied the movement. Her pulse didn't change. She noted their supply trucks, their radio men, their flanking cavalry and heavy units. She predicted their timing with uncanny precision. A young soldier standing nearby whispered to his friend that she looked like she already knew the outcome, like she had seen this war before and had come only to remind the world of something forgotten. The first barrage hit the ridge, shaking the ground. Men covered their heads, helmets rattling. She didn't move. Dust settled over her shoulders, but she stood like stone. When bullets cracked through the air moments later, she finally spoke, voice steady, enough to cut through chaos. Fire only on my mark. The soldiers looked up, confused and terrified. The enemy advanced, firing freely, confident in their numbers. She watched their commander raise a signal flag, watched the front line break into 3 waves. She waited until they were close enough to hear their boots on gravel. Then she raised her hand and dropped it. A thunder of rifles erupted at once. Precise, controlled fire. No wasted ammunition. The enemy's front wave collapsed in seconds. Panic rippled through their ranks as they realized this was not a broken unit. This was a trap laid by patience and precision. She moved position to position, adjusting aim, correcting angles, her voice calm, giving minimal words. One rifle jammed. She fixed it mid-combat without breaking stride. A heavy gun overheated. She cooled the barrel herself with water from her canteen. No fear, only action. Artillery resumed, closer, louder. The earth shook. One soldier froze in panic, breathing fast, vision blurring. She knelt beside him, held his helmet, steadied his breath, then stood and fired 3 precise shots that dropped an enemy officer trying to flank them. The soldier snapped back into focus, inspired and ashamed, and returned fire with renewed fire in his eyes. She did this without shouting, without speeches. Only presence, only resolve. Hours passed. Ammunition dwindled. Night approached. The enemy shifted to night vision tactics, expecting advantage. But she ordered all. Torches turned off. All movement slowed. Rifles rested on sandbags. She closed her eyes, counting heartbeats, listening. Then, at a faint crunch in the dark, she fired 1 shot. Silence. Then return fire from the enemy, wasted in confusion. She had given her soldiers a sound and a target. Their confidence grew. Their resolve hardened. At midnight, the enemy attempted a final push. She saw their commander emerge to force morale. She climbed the ridge under heavy fire, wine tearing at her jacket. Soldiers screamed her name, begging her to stay down. But she didn't. She reached the top, drew a flare from her belt, and fired it straight into the sky. Light cut across the battlefield like a blade. For a moment everything froze. Soldiers on both sides caught the sight. A lone woman standing high against a burning horizon, smoke curling behind her, flare bursting overhead like a declaration of defiance. She pointed her rifle and fired. The enemy commander dropped. Shock rippled across their formation. Confusion shattered discipline. In that instant she shouted only one word that rolled like thunder across the valley: advance. Her soldiers surged forward with a force no one expected. The enemy broke, scattering. She didn't chase glory. She moved through trenches tending wounded, lifting fallen rifles into new hands, pushing forward momentum until the valley echoed not with gunfire, but with silence broken only by distant retreating engines. By dawn the battlefield was secure. Smoke lifted slowly, revealing the impossible: the outnumbered force still standing, trenches intact, flags still raised. Exhausted soldiers collapsed not in defeat but in victory. Word of her spread long before official reports arrived. They said she didn't turn the battle around with brute strength, but with what armies forget when they count numbers instead of hearts. Discipline, patience, presence. The enemy never returned to that valley. When later asked how she broke a force 5 times larger, she answered only that a soldier's greatest weapon is not the rifle in hand, but the mind trained to hold steady when the world shakes. And so history of states remembers the morning she arrived alone, the night she stood against fire, and the dawn she gave a broken battalion back its courage. 2 hours of combat, one legend born from silence and steel.